welcome to the Yarn and Yarns YouTube channel. My name's Angela. You can find me on Instagram and Ravelry as Rainbow Ange, and you can also find an Instagram page and a Facebook page for my business. We're Yarn and Yarns, the same name as the podcast. I run a small bricks and mortar yarn shop in South Wales, just outside of Cardiff in the UK. A very big hello to you all. Thanks for coming and joining me today. I want to say, as always, a very big hello to anyone who has been here before, and also a very warm welcome to anyone who might be joining us as a new viewer. I've had quite a few new subscribers over the last week or so, and I think that might be thanks to Kim, who is Blue Cherub 82. Kim was the winner of my 100 subscribers prize draw, and I think she might have mentioned me. She's doing a lot of vlogging every day in September, so I think she might have mentioned me on one of her videos. I'm a little bit behind on my podcast watching, so I can't be sure. But if it was you, Kim, then thank you so much. And if anyone else has mentioned me and I haven't spotted it, then please do let me know, because I would love to give you a shout out and say thank you too. So here on the channel you'll find me waffling away about my creative endeavours, mostly knitting and crochet, sometimes spinning and sewing, and I sometimes add in sections of what's going on in the shop. So today I have got one finished object for you, a few works in progress, and I will be recording another little snippet from the shop later on, because we do have lots of new yarns and books that have come in over the last week or two, so I thought I'd do a quick segment on those as well. So first off, I have a finished object to show you, and it is my Maytham shawl. So this is a gorgeous design by Helen Stewart, who is Curious Handmade, and it's part of the Shawl Society collection. So for the last few years she has done a little club where you purchase it in advance and you get 6 patterns, I think 6 shawl patterns over 6 months. So this is the first pattern that she released. It's going to be a bit tricky to show you on camera. I can't really see what I'm doing as I disappear behind the shawl. So all of her patterns this time are inspired by the book The Secret Garden, which as you may remember if you've watched before, is my favourite book all time ever. So I knew I had to sign up for this club. So far I've only managed to cast on one of the shawls and obviously finish one of the shawls. So this is Maytham and it's absolutely beautiful. I used Debbie Bliss Fine Donegal for this, which is a lovely tweedy 4-ply yarn, and I used 2 colours, so a nice natural and this gorgeous cream, and I just love this. It's so pretty. It's got this really fun garter stitch section to start with, and then this stockingette section with a little bit of texture, going back to some garter, and then this really pretty arched lace section, and then back down to the end. So I made a couple of modifications. My shawl is slightly shorter, so slightly less deep than the pattern, and also in the original pattern, this final section here where I've got a little bit of green and a little bit of cream, that is all done in one colour, in the green, but I wanted to just use 2 balls of yarn. So the pattern called for 2 balls of your main colour and then 1 ball of your contrast colour, but I had quite a bit left over of this contrast colour, and I knew that if you can see, I'm probably about, I think I was about 6 rows short. So if you imagine that plus another 6 rows, which is going to take it another sort of 1/2 to 3/4 of an inch, that was no way going to take up 1 ball of this Fine Donegal yarn. I think there's 380 metres on a ball, and I just, most of the time I'm quite happy. I've got a little basket of leftovers and I'll add them into other projects. But this colour, I love greens, but this is quite a pale green and it's not something that I usually gravitate towards, and I just couldn't imagine adding like leftovers to other projects. And also this yarn, it's gorgeous yarn, but it's quite thick and thin. I've said it before, it's almost reminiscent of a hand spun really, and so it wouldn't really have gone well or played well with a lot of other leftovers that I have. So I thought, instead of having you know, like probably about 50 or 60 grams of leftovers in this that I didn't know what to do with, I would just go back to the cream and knit on that until I ran out. And the great thing about Helen's patterns is that she does a percentage system. So her patterns are row by row, and then every few rows she tells you how much yarn you will have used, so you can accommodate what you have really, which is brilliant. And I don't think my shawl has suffered at all for being slightly shorter. It is still massive. It blocked out beautifully. I probably could have done taken a bit more care if I wanted to. I could have blocked out these lovely points, but I was just feeling way too lazy to do that. But this really grew in size after I blocked it, and it's such a big cozy shawl. Not going to be able to see that from the angle you are. I'll just lift you up. So as you can see, it's massive. So I don't think I have really kind of lost anything by, sorry for wiggling you around, and the angle is going to be completely different now. What a state to get in. Now I can't balance you. Really technical setup here. I'm recording on my phone and you're balanced on my swivelly desk chair. That's completely rubbish. I'm just going to pause this and try and set back a decent angle again. Okay, hopefully that's a bit better again. We've definitely changed angle because you can see more of me than before, but welcome to the chaos that is Yarn and Yarns. Anyway, I don't think there's much else to say about my Maytham shawl. It's absolutely beautiful. I really love it. It's going to be nice and cozy. It's definitely great size to sort of wrap around in sort of cowl bandana style, or you can definitely wear it traditional style, wrapped around your shoulders to give you a nice bit of warmth. So yeah, I'm really pleased with how that turned out. As for the rest of the patterns in the Shawl Society, I have not started any of the others. Originally I kind of planned to just cast them on as they came out and then finish them as and when, but a couple of the patterns, although I think they are gorgeous, I just couldn't see myself knitting. So I think the second pattern in particular, so either the second or third, is basically a really long lacy wrap, and I have got a couple of wraps like that already and I just couldn't see myself knitting that. There's a lovely triangular design called the Wick, which sort of uses 3 skeins that you fade into, so I might cast that one on next. But yeah, that's future plans and I'm wasting time waffling. So let's move on. Okay, so 2 works in progress. I've got 3 to show you today. I do have another work in progress that I've been working on this week, but I left it downstairs. And it is, if you watched last time, it's my boho sock. So the sock that I cast on for commission. Did I show that last time? Or am I imagining that? I've definitely posted about it on Instagram. It's a sock that I have knit before from Stylecraft Yarn. Perhaps I'll pop in a picture here. I think I might have just mentioned that on Instagram. It's yarn. Okay, I was interrupted by a phone call there. Where was I? Boho sock. So yeah, I'm knitting a sock for a customer. She picked out the yarn, and I have knitted a sock and I've just started the second sock. It's a colourway that I've knit before, and actually it's really fun to knit on it again, because when I knit my original pair, we were travelling around New Zealand, so it's bringing back lots of fun memories knitting on that sock. So yeah, that's the first work in progress, and hopefully I'll have stuck in a picture so you can see what I'm waffling about. The second work in progress is a lovely test knit that I'm doing for Kyla, who is Arctos Knits. She has her own lovely podcast and she's just started to bring out a few designs. She designed the hedge nettle mitts that I showed in the last episode, and this time I am test knitting a sock for her, and it's this beautiful sock with this lovely rabbits in love pattern on the top, and then it's going to be plain down to the toe with a little bit of colour work detail before the toe. So you'll have to excuse this, it's not looking its best at the moment. Obviously my tension between colour work and plain is a lot different. This needs a good block to even it out. I don't struggle usually to get even tension, and you'll see I've got another colour work project that has also not been blocked that's coming out beautifully. I think it's just with these sock yarns, yeah, I just find it more difficult to get even tension. As you can see, some of my stitches are a bit sort of bigger and looser. Kyla's pattern is nice and adaptable, so it's got a very short leg. If I just show you the back, you'll see that's a super short leg, and the rabbit design is on the back as well as the front. But she encourages you to have a play around with it, so if you want to make the leg longer you can, if you want to change up your heel you can. And the modification that I made for mine is the pattern sizes. It comes in 3 different sizes. I think the smallest size you cast on 68, the biggest size is something like 76. And I often struggle with colourwork socks. The stretch, I can't get them over the sort of instep arch of my foot. So what I decided to do was cast on, I usually knit a 64 stitch sock for myself. So I cast on 64 stitches. And did the cuff, and then in the first round I increased out to the largest size. So if you can see, the sock's kind of got a bit of a funny shape, but it doesn't show once it's on your foot. But I increased out, followed the chart for the biggest size, and then as I knit this section here, the sort of plain section between the colour work and the heel, I've decreased back down. So it's got kind of a bit of an hourglassy sort of shape going on at the moment. But as I say, once it's on your foot and stretched out, it does not notice at all. So yeah, I've made reasonable progress on that, and this should probably fly off the needle now, because I've literally just got knit down to the toe. So I'm using 2 lovely yarns for this. This lovely gorgeous blue, it's quite a nice sort of rich complex colour. It's not sort of straightforward. My camera won't be, or my phone won't be good enough to pick up the subtleties in that, but that's a colourway from the Socks Yeah collection by Rachel Coopy, who is Coop Knits, and that colour is Topaz. And then the yellow is a West Yorkshire Spinners yarn from their signature 4-ply range, and I think it's butterscotch or something like that, but I think I struggled to remember that last time. I should look it up properly for next time. And that project is living in my gorgeous cute sloths print bag, which I picked up when we were on our travels to York from the York Makery. Second work in progress, I haven't shown this for a couple of videos, but this is a project by Carrie Bostic Hogue, and it is from the Simple Pleasures Anthology 2 collection. And if you remember me chatting about this project before, I found this yarn as I was going through boxes of yarn that I had brought home from the shop when I first took it over, and I found this collection of RY yarns, so classic yarns. This was a series that Rowan did quite a few years ago, and this is the Cash Soft Chunky, which is a blend of 57% wool, 10% cashmere, 33% acrylic. And I found a whole mess of balls of this yarn that just hadn't been cared. They've fallen apart. So if I show you, I kept one ball. These kind of parchmenty labels are lovely, but to look at, but these balls had all fallen apart, and so I just wasn't happy to sort of sell them on either in the sale in the shop or on eBay. So I decided to cast on a project. So I picked the Lee Tea from this book. I'm just going to try and find the picture of it quickly to show you. As always, when you're trying to find something, you can't. So it's just a really simple t-shirt with a garter stitch sort of panel at the top. And if you can remember, I picked a size that I thought might be too small for me, and I wasn't even sure if I had enough yarn, but I had one other ball in this purple colour to use as a bit of a contrast. So I'm still plugging away. I think I'm going to have enough yarn now. In fact, I'm pretty sure, because I've just got a little bit left to do, and I've still got a whole ball left. It's going to be, it's a mess of ends, because when I wound the balls as well, a lot of the balls had like factory knots in, which I sort of cut down to smaller balls. So I've done lots of joining, and my joining is in places where I wouldn't usually, so right in the middle of, if you can see here, look, I've got some holes where the joins are. I haven't pulled those tight yet. Usually I try and join my yarns down the side, but I was so worried that I wouldn't have enough to finish this project that I just literally just joined them where they ran out. So I'll have plenty of tidying up to do on this project once it is cast off. So last time I showed you this project, it was knit to the marker down here. So let's try and hold that up better. That's it. So I was on the section where you just knit in the round. So I've done that, and as you can see, I have made quite a bit of progress on this. However, I've hardly spent any time on it. It's a chunky yarn, and for someone who's more used to knitting on 4-ply, yeah, this is just, I think I've spent 3 evenings on this, and I've nearly got a completed garment. So just, it's crazy to me. So I have finished the bit where you knit in the round, and then you go up to the sleeve point. That it's a crop jumper or a crop t-shirt, so there's not a huge amount. So that's the bit you knit in the round, and then you split off and knit the front and back separately. Obviously rejoin them again, and that makes your armhole. So the front is finished, and I am just working on the back now. Last night I got to the point where I put in all of my markers for the short row shaping. I don't think these would be essential. You could definitely count the stitches, but this is what the pattern advises you to do, and actually it's really good because it's pretty mindless. You just knitting backwards and forwards to various markers and then wrapping and turning. So yeah, I've just got a few more rows left on that to finish the back, and then once that is finished, I need to you do a 3 needle bind off to join the shoulders, and then you pick up and knit just around the neckband and around the arm holes just to neaten that off again. I think this is going to fit me. It's not going to have the positive ease that the pattern necessarily recommends, but it's turned out to be pretty wide, so I think I should be okay. It's a bit difficult to I can definitely get it round me, but it's a bit difficult to know whether I'm actually going to enjoy wearing this, because it is very cropped, but until I finish the back and join the shoulders, it's really tricky to see exactly where this is going to fall. Yeah, but hopefully in the next day or so, I reckon it will take me one more evening to finish the knitting. And then depending on how I'm feeling, I'll just need to have a little bit of concentration to do the 3 needle bind off. I'll need to remind myself how to do that. I'm much more used to Kitchenering than 3 needle binding off, so I'll have to remind myself how to do that. But yeah, in the next couple of days that should be finished. This is living in my no gain bag, which was a lovely gift from my friend Lisa. It's been perfect to house that project. Okay, and the final work in progress that I'm going to show you today is my Ragnar shrug. I'm just reaching over to grab the book. So I don't know if you remember this from last time. This is my shrug from the Arnie and Carlos book by Rowan, and here it is. Yes, it's crazy. It's kind of a something or nothing. It's like a quarter back piece with some sleeves, but I just fell in love with it, and in my pursuit to be this woman hanging around in oak panelled rooms, I decided to cast one on. So I have finished the back, and I love how it's come out. Obviously it's very reminiscent in colour, as we decided last week, to the Harriet cardigan that I recently finished, but yeah, here it is. So the back piece is done. As you can see, there's hardly anything to it, and I have started on the first sleeve. So not huge amounts of progress on the sleeve, but yeah, it's looking lovely. I love it. I love these colours. I am going to, for the sleeves, so these patterns are not, I don't want to say not beginner friendly, because, you know, if you're adventurous and confident and don't mind making a few mistakes here and there, anyone can knit anything really. But they don't hold your hand in terms of row by row. So what on the sleeves here, there are 46 rows given in the sleeve chart, but then you have to carry on with your increases and stick to pattern. So it's going to take a little bit of sort of concentration and working out in order to keep the pattern right, and do that without the charts right in front of you. So what I'm going to do is I am going to knit that first sleeve right up until I've completed the 46 row pattern chart that's given. I'm going to cast on the second sleeve and get up to that same point, and then I'm going to knit them concurrently, because I want to make sure that they match. So rather than kind of work out the pattern increases for one sleeve and then try and go back and replicate that exactly for the second, just to save myself a bit of mental effort, I'm gonna get them both to the same point and then do you know, a few rows on each sleeve at a time, so that the sort of patterning is fresh in my mind. So hopefully that will work out, but obviously I've got a ways to go yet before that first sleeve is even there. Okay, so that is it. When I get to the shop, I will try and remember to show you my Harriet cardigan, because that is now finished with buttons and all. I changed my mind on my button choice. I'm saving those beautiful Cat's Eye Collective buttons for another project. I found some beautiful bright orange buttons that match perfectly with the cardigan. But it's in the shop now. I'm getting ready to change to an autumn themed window. So that's going to go in the window for a little while. So I'll try and remember to show you that. I'm also, the one other thing that I wanted to say about my projects is I am seriously thinking about frogging my festoon socks. So if you remember, I cast these on as part of my 12 cast-ons of Christmas. They're a beautiful pair of socks. I really love them and I kind of want them, but I'm just really not enjoying knitting them. When I picked them back up again, I thought I kind of enjoyed it, but I'm just having to really concentrate on this chart, and life's too short, isn't it? I mean, now I'm looking at them again, they are absolutely beautiful, and I'm kind of second guessing my decision, but I'm just not reaching for them. I just don't often have the brain power to concentrate on this chart. So yeah, I'm thinking these might go to the frog pond, because, you know, life's too short. There are so many knitting patterns and crochet patterns out there that I want to work on. It just seems, yeah, crazy to spend time on something that I'm not really enjoying. So I am seriously thinking about frogging those, which will make me a little bit sad. But I think maybe I'll keep them on the needles and knit a few more rows and see if I change my mind. But let me know what you think. Should I carry on? I mean, given this is my first sock and these have been on the needles since December, and that is the only progress that has been made, should I frog them, or should I carry on and endure the non-enjoying and in pursuit of having a pair of beautiful socks at the end? Let me know in the comments below what you think. Okay, that is it for this morning, and I shall say goodbye to you for now. In reality, you will see my big head again in just a minute, as I am going to put in a little bit of a segment of from the shop to show you some of the new things that we have come in over the last couple of weeks. As you can probably tell from the change of background, I am now in the shop. I'm really glad that the camera is pointing the way it is and not out over the table, because it is chaos here today. I am in the process of changing the window. So I thought I would, as promised, just show you the buttons and things that I chose for the Harriet cardigan before it goes in the window. I also finished the pom-pom for the Brooklime hat, so I will quickly show you that. And I've got a couple of projects that are works in progress that I keep in the shop. So I thought I'd, just to round off the what I'm working on section, I thought I'd show you those as well. And then later on today, if I have time, there'll be a little shop update section. So I'll show you some of the new things that we've had in. Okay, so first off, my Harriet cardigan. I think you will hopefully remember this from last time. The only thing that really has changed now is it has buttons. So I found these really lovely bright orange buttons. So originally, you might remember last week, I had some Cat's Eye Collective buttons, beautiful wooden buttons with sort of anchor printed or embossed onto them, but I only had 4 of those and I need 7 buttons for the cardigan. So and they were also slightly too big for the buttonholes, so I had a hunt around in my local area. I didn't have any buttons sort of suitable, but on the Cardiff indoor market there's quite a nice haberdashery stall, and I found these buttons that were absolutely perfect for the Harriet. So Harriet is now going to live in the window for a little while. It's really grey here today, and you can probably see from up there it's just really sort of blowing out the light. It's that sort of nondescript kind of a day, but it's really warm, so I definitely don't have need to wear a woolly cardigan just yet. So I think this will look nice as part of the autumnal window display. So that's it for Harriet. Brooklime was just in need of a pom-pom, so Brooklime now has a pom-pom. I purchased these hat stands, wig stands from Amazon. I'm not overly enthralled with it. I don't think it's a particularly great shape. They're just like a plastic kind of frame, but they'll do for now as a way to display my hats. So yeah, Brooklime now has a pom-pom and is all done, which is fantastic. So Brooklime will now also be part of the window display. So the two works in progress that I have going on in the shop. I have an Esme shawl, which if you've watched before, I have already made a couple of these. So this is a pattern from West Yorkshire Spinners. Again, it's using the lovely Wensleydale Gems yarn that I used in the Harriet cardigan. It's quite a simple shawl. It's quite a long, let's try and show you this without giving away any pattern details. It's quite a long sort of scarf rather than a shawl, I would say. And I had a customer who commissioned me to make 4 of these. She wants to give these as Christmas gifts. I'm now working on number 3, but for all of them I made them slightly shorter. You can't really see in this picture, but if you work to the directions that are stated, this end will be hanging sort of right down here somewhere. It goes really long and skinny, and there's just not really any need for that. So I do cut down the length of mine when I have made them before, and I shall do the same for this one. I am almost done with the colour sort of eyelet sections. I've got a couple more of those to do, but it's a nice pattern, and I am using purple and grey this time. So there's my progress, lots of ends. So as you can see, it's quite a simple kind of concept. The eyelet sections get narrower and narrower, so I think I've got 3 more of these sort of one pattern repeat eyelet sections to do, and you're decreasing all the time as well, so the rows get quicker and quicker. You're only ever sort of working on quite a narrow row. I think if I just have a look quickly at the pattern, you cast on 113 stitches, and that's the widest point, so it's quite a nice one. And the pattern's fairly repetitive. Once you've done it a couple of times, it's in your head, so this is a nice one for me to be able to work on when we have group sessions in the shop. So I'm hoping that I'll have this finished by the end of this week. I cast it on, the others that I made took me about 10 days on and off in the shop. I haven't had as much time to work on this one, so it's been on the needles for about 3 weeks, and I'm kind of getting sick of the sight of it, really. Just hanging around the shop, and I put in a row or 2 here and there. It's just been a really busy time. We've had lots of new yarns in, I've rearranged the shop. So that's been taking up a lot of my time, and I've not had as much knitting time. And some of the groups, although they've been quiet, it's been a good opportunity for people to get to grips with some new skills and to learn some new things, because there haven't been as many people, because a lot of people have been going on holiday now that the kids are back at school. It's time for adults to go on holiday. So yeah, it's just been generally busy. So even in the group sessions, I haven't had much of an opportunity to work on that. So if it doesn't get finished in the shop this week, I will be taking it home and finishing it at the weekend, because I would just like to have that off the needles. And then I've just got one more of those left, and my commitment with those will be finished. The final project that I have in the shop, I tend to work on a Wednesday morning. We have a purely crochet group on a Wednesday, so I like to have a crochet project on the go. And I found this really cute pattern actually in an old knitting magazine. So this is Let's Knit from August 2015, and the pattern is Lawrence by Val Pierce. And Lawrence is a cute chameleon, so I'll show you another picture of Lawrence there. Look, he's got his own little scholarly fez on there. So I haven't, this has been on the hook for a little while. I'm using Stylecraft Batik Elements yarn, and this is one of the new colourways that they brought out this summer, Magnesium, and I just thought it'd be quite cute for a chameleon. So he doesn't get much work on him, just usually a round or two every Wednesday. So far I have made his head. So he has these really cute eyelids, and yeah, I'm on to his neck and just about to increase out for his body. So I'm really pleased with how this is working up. I think it's really suitable for a chameleon. So yeah, a nice fun project, and it's nice to have some crochet on the go. So those are my works in progress that live in the shop at the moment. I need to carry on and get this window sorted. So the window is completely empty at the moment. I've just given it a good clean, so I'm just waiting for it to dry out a little bit before I start redressing it again. The table is covered in autumnal things. I've got all my leaves out. Obviously I've got the Harriet cardigan and the Brookline hat to go in. I've got some pumpkins. I have got last year's crocheted basket of autumn vegetables, so they may go back in. But I'm just going to play it by ear, as always, with the window displays. I shall start doing it. I don't like to over clutter the windows, but it's nice to have a few things in there for people to look at. The summer window, I'm kind of sad to see that go, because the kids just love that. There were so many little creatures and things in our seaside sort of scene, and yeah, it'll be, as I say, it's a shame to see that go, but I think we are past summer now. Time to get all of the autumny leafy goodness going on. So yeah, that'll be it for the rest of my day, and if I have time I shall pop back and tell you about some of the new yarns that we have in the shop. So I know I promised that I was going to chat to you about all of the new yarns that we've had here in the shop, but I've come to the conclusion that if I want to try and get this video up to you and on the YouTube channel this week, I'm just not going to have time to chat about all of the new yarns that we have, because we've had quite a few. So instead, I am just going to tell you about two this week. I've picked out my favourite two. Shh, don't tell anyone. I shouldn't really have favourites, should I? But I do. So I'm going to tell you about my favourite new yarns, and then over the coming weeks I'm sure I'll fill you in on the other. All of the other yarns are lovely, don't get me wrong, but these two just really speak to me. So first off, I have a selection of 8 new colours in Rowan Felted Tweed, and Felted Tweed is one of my all-time favourite yarns. It's what I'm knitting my Ragnar in, that I showed in the whips section earlier. This season they have come out with these lovely new shades that were created by Cafe Facet, I'm never quite sure how you say his name. but I'm sure you will have heard of him. He's very famous for his wonderful colour play. He's done knitting designs, tapestries, fabric, all sorts in the past. And he's come out with these new selection of colours, and also a pattern book to accompany the colours. So this is the pattern book, so Rowan Calf's colours. And there is a really nice selection in here of a couple of garments, a couple of wraps, a couple of scarves. They're all really lovely and vibrant. I'll show you a couple of the projects. They're all, as you would expect from him, super colourful. So there is this kind of throw over cardigan with these great big bold circles using all of the lovely new colours. There's obviously the scarf that I showed you on the front. This one is possibly my favourite project in the book. It's called Cool Weave, and it's a gorgeous wrap intarsia technique. Really simple in design. It's just sort of squares, and they're alternating in the direction that they're striped in. But I love the colour palette on that one. And what else? I'll show you the lovely checkerboard blanket or bed throw. It's shown actually being worn as a wrap, but there's also a picture of it styled as a bed runner, which is really nice. And yeah, that uses all of the lovely new colours. So there are more designs in that, and I might do a more in-depth review on that book at a later stage. But these colours, they're a bit of a departure from the usual colours that we get in felted tweed. Felted tweed can be quite muted, and these are all in the sort of jewel tones. They're absolutely stunning. So I'll just show you. There's the first 4. And here are the second 4 colours. So yeah, a lot brighter and more fun than, as I say, the usual colour palette in felted tweed. So I'm really excited to have that in the shop. I haven't yet cast on a project from this. I am really tempted to add that intarsia wrap, the Cool Weave wrap, to perhaps my 12 cast-ons of Christmas this year, because yes, I am planning on doing that. But we'll see. I think I've probably got way more than 12 projects already on that list. So by the time the end of the year comes, I'm definitely going to have to narrow that down. So yeah, that's the Rowan felted tweed. And the second yarn that is really speaking to me is a lovely British yarn from West Yorkshire Spinners. It's a new one for this season, and it's called Retreat. And it's a chunky roving, so it's basically a singles yarn. And it is made from 100% blue-faced Kerry Hill. If you've been watching for a while, you'll know that I love my breed specific yarns, and this one is no exception. It's absolutely lovely. Again, I haven't yet cast on with this. We've had so many new things in the shop, and as you know, I'm trying to get some of my whips off the needles, but I will definitely be casting on in this soon. It comes in lots of colours, but I have bought 8 colours into the shop. I just picked the ones that spoke to me the most. When I bring in a new yarn, I often, unless there's only a few shades in the range, I often pick out a few colours, because, as you probably heard me mention before, we have to pay for these yarns up front. They're not sale or return, so you have to take a chance that you are going to bring in things that people want to knit with. So when there's a massive colour palette, I just tend to pick out a few just to see how the yarn goes, and we can always extend that palette if it proves to be popular. So the colours that I have bought in, I'll just quickly flash. I've bought 8 colours in altogether. So I've got a couple of neutrals, which are the grey and the sort of creamy colour, and then I've got blue and this lovely mustard yellow. There's the pink that I was flashing earlier, and a lovely deep plummy purple, and then the final two are this kind of rusty orangey brown and a lovely green. This green is absolutely gorgeous. Sorry about that, very noisy van just pulled away, how rude. They not know I'm trying to record. What was I saying? Oh, the green. There is a pattern book that comes along with this yarn, and there is a beautiful wrap knit from that gorgeous green. It's called Serendipity. How gorgeous is that? It's just beautiful. So yeah, there's a pattern book that comes along with the yarn. It's called The Perfect Retreat, and there is a mixture of garments, accessories and some homewares. I will probably do a book review on this because it's a really lovely one. It'd be nice to take you through some of the patterns in more detail. But I think I shall be casting on in the not too distant future this lovely cowl, which is called Medita, and it's a 3-colour cowl, and each section, so it's just big colour blocks, but each section has a different texture. And as it's a chunkier yarn, I think I should be able to sort of whip that up reasonably quickly, and I think that will be a nice sample to have in the shop to show off a range of the colours. Not sure yet whether I will go with this colour combination. I really like it, it's very striking, but I'm also of the opinion that sometimes when I knit up samples for the shop, it's nice to pick different colours because you can see how those colours are going to come out in the book. But people often struggle to move away from sort of what's shown and choose their own colours. So yeah, I'm debating because that is a really nice sort of striking classic combination. So we'll see. One of the things I love about the West Yorkshire Spinner's books is they're spiral bound, so it's really easy just to have them sat flat on a table in front of you when you're working from them. I just love that. But yeah, there's a whole host, as I say, of different patterns in that. There are also 2 free patterns that come along with this yarn, so if you purchase a ball or 2 and you don't want to invest in the book, there are 2 patterns. So there's one cowl pattern which is called Metanaya, I think that's how you pronounce it, who knows. So just a really nice simple seed stitch or moss stitch cowl. And then there's also this really lovely big floor cushion, Ubuntu, maybe. And there's 2 different versions of this in the pattern. So there's the plain one that you can see on the front, and there's also a 2-colour version which is shown on the back, which is quite nice. The yarn is, I think, relatively affordable. It's 100 grams, it's £6.50 a ball. For the cowl, for instance, you need 3, and also for the cushions, the 2 colour cushions, you need 3 of each colour that you choose, or if you go for the 1 colour, 5. So yeah, really nice British, reared, sheared and spun in Britain, which just makes my heart happy. And as I say, at the moment this green is really calling to me. That's just gorgeous. They're the 2 new yarns that we have recently had come into stock. As I say, we've got many more, and hopefully I'll show you those in the coming videos. I think I shall wrap up this video for now. Thank you so very much for joining me. It has been a real pleasure to have your company. I hope you have enjoyed the video. If you have any comments, then by all means please leave them below. If there's anything you'd like to see more of or less of, any suggestions, I'm always open to feedback. So yeah, please comment below or contact me via Instagram or Facebook, however you prefer. But I hope very much that you will join me again when I post my next video. And until next time, great big woolly hugs to you all. Bye for now.